Oh, yes.
Welcome back once again, everyone. Today I've got a very surprising review for y'all. This is the new Target exclusive Transformers Studio Series number 68, Leadfoot. I don't think I have to explain why this is a Target exclusive, though it would be really funny watching Walmart carry something with a Target brand on the front. Leadfoot hails from the Dark of the Moon film from the live-action movie series and is one of the wreckers, one of three that we know of from the films. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's voiced by John DiMaggio, who's always a very talented guy. This toy also comes with a little non-posable figure of his partner Steeljaw, who never actually made it into the final script of the movie. Though there is a precedent for him being included with other Leadfoot toys, so I'm glad they did him again here. It just helps increase the value of the figure. So anyway, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Leadfoot's packaging, then we'll open him up, we'll see his instructions, we'll take a look at Leadfoot himself in both his vehicle and robot modes, we'll see Steeljaw. At some point, I'll show off his included backdrop, do a group shot with his fellow wrecker Roadbuster. Unfortunately, I don't have Top Spin yet. They're showing up in stores across the country, but none near me. So, unfortunately, no Top Spin today. And then, of course, at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So, despite being an exclusive, Leadfoot does come in your very standard Transformers Deluxe Class packaging, or Studio Series Deluxe Class. You got his number right here, 68, Dark of the Moon branding. You can see him and Steeljaw inside. Right here is a close-up of his face, which I think is just a reversal of his render right there. That's what it looks like, just mirrored. Then on the back, you got renders of him in both his robot and vehicle modes. Shows off the Steeljaw accessory. You have some licensing from NASCAR due to his decals and everything, as well as General Motors, who own Chevrolet, who makes the Impala that Leadfoot turns into. His little flavor text on here says Leadfoot and the Wreckers turn the Decepticons into scrap, which, yeah, they do quite a bit of that in the movie, don't they? And then down here on the right, you have a shot of him with his backdrop, which is the typical Battle for Chicago scene. And then looks like a different render here. So there you go, two different renders. He's really showing off for you guys. Here we have Leadfoot's instructions, and they got a nice little render of him on the front. Name, number, all that good stuff. Dark of the Moon. And right here, this just shows you how to get them all fixed up in the packaging. Now, interestingly, this shows you that his backpack needs to be flipped in. Mine was already flipped into the packaging, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, all these other adjustments you need to make. All right, render him and Steeljaw, and then his transformation from robot to heavily armed race car mode. Shows you where to place his weapons in both the vehicle and robot modes. And one thing I will say for these instructions, I found that if you do them in the actual order that they tell you to do them, you're going to run into all sorts of clearance issues, specifically with plugging his legs together and then docking them up under the backpack. You kind of want to hold off on that, honestly. You want to get his arms up to the sides and have the tabs in his arms go into the slots on his legs, and then get his legs in the backpack, and then push them together. It makes the whole transformation a lot easier. If you do it that way, his transformation is actually really easy and really fun. A lot more so than a lot of the Studio Series car guys. Here's a quick look at Steeljaw, the minifigure that comes with this guy. And he's actually got a fair amount of paint applications here for just a simple figurine. He has, it's hard to see, but he has that dark blue for his eyes, and it's the same dark blue that seems to be used for Leadfoot's visor. He also has silver paint on these little exhaust pipes on his back. And you'll notice a motif here, he kind of looks like a hot rod engine, and that's apparently because he was originally intended to transform into an engine to pop onto Leadfoot's hood in the early concepts for the movie, and that never panned out. None of the toys are capable of doing that, but you can definitely see the inspiration there. He also has these little tabs on his butt Not entirely sure what those are for. I'll have to figure that out. Okay, and now here we have Leadfoot in his Chevy Impala mode. And you can see this is essentially the battle mode that he takes on. In the Dark of the Moon movie, the Wreckers, as well as some other Autobots, had the ability to go from a regular car to like some sort of heavily armed configuration, sort of battle mode. And it wasn't really a feature seen after that, but it's pretty cool. And I do like the fact that when they decided, you know, which version of their vehicle modes to go with, they went with the more heavily armed ones, because it just makes them more interesting to me. They get weapons and all sorts of cool detailing. And I mean, you know, really cool detailing. Look at all, like, you got all sorts of like tubes and wires and metal plates and ridges going on here. You got these boosters on the back that I really dig. The paint on this guy is gorgeous, this red paint. It's a little more matte than the plastic. Plastic has a little more sheen to it, but it matches fairly well. You got tons of decals on there. You got NASCAR. You got Ultra Wreckers on the tires, which I think is supposed to look like the Goodyear logo. And the tires luckily have like proper you know, hubcaps and stuff. It's not just a peg sticking through. Number 42, you got your target symbol, Impala logo right there. And the underside is pretty clean for the most part. You can see his hands, but they blend in well because they're that same dark brownish gray. And then the toes are the same thing. It just kind of looks like detailing in the vehicle. And you kind of see his head poking through there, but it's not insanely obvious. So I like it. Really the only place this guy is lacking any kind of paint, I guess, are these little exhaust pipes on the back. They really should have been painted silver. But other than that, he looks really, really good. You can see he's very heavily armed. He's got these little missile pods on the front, little like machine guns with ammo belts hanging off of them on the sides, and then some sort of a minigun right here on top. And the side guns all connect via tabs on the vehicle. This actually has a 5mm post that plugs into a hole there on the top. So very, very cool looking. I absolutely dig this vehicle mode. A real Mad Max meets grocery store chain vibe to it. So kind of funny, kind of insane, which is, you know, perfect characterization for a wrecker. I'll go ahead and just kind of show them with Steeljaw here, so you can see. Again, I looked around and I cannot find a purpose for these little butt tabs on Steeljaw. Started thinking maybe it was a drop feature. Maybe it's supposed to come with some sort of leash or something, because the original Steeljaw toy from the Dark of the Moon toy line did actually have a leash that Leadfoot could hold. This unfortunately doesn't include one of those. So I think it might have been a holdover from a drop feature. And if anybody knows more than I do on it, feel free to let me know in the comments, because I would like to know if there's something I'm missing here. Here's the Battle for Chicago backdrop that comes with Leadfoot, and I wanted to break it out now just to show you how cool his vehicle mode looks poached up here. Looks like he's just driving down the ruined streets looking for a fight. And he fits quite well on here. He's slightly wide and kind of hangs off the edge with these wheels, but overall he works, and he kind of matches the sides here because he's all red. Okay, now it's time to transform Leadfoot to his robot mode. So naturally, the first thing you want to do is remove his accessories. So you just untab them there, take off these black missile pods, take off little machine guns, and then take off the gun on top. Just wring it loose. All right, so you get this. Now, I already mentioned, you know, there's a certain order you want to do this in just to kind of make it work. The first thing I recommend doing is separating these back halves. Just kind of wriggle them loose, pop them free of the top section, and then you want to separate the arms there from these. So you just kind of want to wriggle them loose. Get the arms free like that. It'll save you a lot of headaches later. Go ahead, just come up the arms out, straighten his hands like so. Just get his arms up and out of the way. Swing this part down, make sure that's out of the way. You're gonna fold this back panel in, then you wanna open up the hood section. You're just gonna pull it open, and there's a bit of a clearance problem here that you gotta get past. You kinda wanna just like pull and rotate this section down, like so. Not too bad, right? All right, you're gonna take this front part of the hood, lift it up. All right, then you want to take this panel and flip it down, and you might have some catching with these red panels on the outer hood there, so just kind of make sure you flip it just right so they don't get in the way or make contact. And then you swing them outward like so. And you're gonna flip his head forward, so you get it just like this. Let's go ahead and fix his feet while we're messing with them. So you want to rotate them, take these lower leg portions down, and you're going to flip his toes downward because he's gonna stand kind of like a bird perched up there on his talon-like feet. Okay, then you're going to fold this in, make sure it presses down in there well, and there are slots that these shoulder panel things you're going to plug into. Hold it all in place. Make sure you get it on there just right. You should seat very firmly, like so. All right, and now this is the way he comes in the packaging, and the instructions I don't really think tell you to fix this, but he's not supposed to be this tall or lean looking. So you're supposed to swing these legs out on these panels and then bring them down to make him even more squat than he already was. He's definitely got a very interesting, unique physique to him, which is cool, right? Variety in the Transformers line is what we want. And here he is, old Leadfoot, old Dadbot himself. And I really dig this guy. I think he looks absolutely fantastic. But naturally he's not complete yet without his weapons. So go ahead, just grab all your weapons again. You're gonna take your little belted machine gun looking things, tab them on right there to his forearms. Just push them on nice and firmly. Make sure they get on there. Same thing on this side. There you go. Now his missile launchers, they're going to plug in at his sides, kind of under his armpits here. And it looks like, which side do we use? Yeah, okay. So these have two slots on them, and you are going to use the one that sticks out the furthest to prevent clearance issues. So you're just going to tab it on there just like that. Coming. That one is very loose. Let's see how this one fits. Can't see what I'm doing. That one stays on there. This guy's really loose, unfortunately, so. That's a shame. I don't want that. Hopefully that's just a tolerance issue on my copy. Oh, geez. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, gonna have to make do with my loose copy. Really stinks. Okay, so just kind of get it on there as best you can. Try not to knock it loose. And then this one is gonna go over his shoulder on this 5mm port. Technically it can go on either side, but this is the intended position. Well, it's just going to keep falling off, isn't it? Oh man, that's disappointing because this is a really good figure, and I hate that mine's having issues. All right, let's carefully pose him. There we go. All right, so overall, this guy just looks so good, so dynamic, just really kind of goofy looking, but you know, also very tough and scrappy at the same time. And I'm really digging him. He's also very, very screen accurate, which is, you know, very impressive. My only issue, as far as accuracy goes, is that his upper legs really should be the same dark silvery gray as, you know, his arms and his head and all that. It's really not supposed to be bright red like that. So that does take you out of it a bit, and I imagine that was due to, requirements with the mold's layout. So not much we can do about that. Now, if brand unification weren't a thing, you could pretty much guarantee that Dakar would have made a version that had the gray legs, but oh well, this is what we have to work with in 2020. And again, here's old Steeljaw, just hanging out by his master's side. And it is a shame that they don't come with a leash so these two can interact a little more, but they still look good together. It's important to note that even though Leadfoot's molded with open hands, he does have a 5mm circle right here, so he can hold on to standard weapons, including his own if you want to. So I'm just going to keep him armed across his body like that. It just looks better. So yeah, he looks really, really good. From a design perspective, the only thing I'm not crazy about, but also it's expected because it's common here, he does use ball joints for his shoulders and his hips, which are prone to becoming loose over time. In fact, his hips, they're not super loose, but they do tend to flop a little bit. So I would just be careful, don't play with your guy too much or he'll start loosening up and flopping around. Now, as far as group shots, I think I'm going to go ahead and pose him with his namesake, Generation 2 Leadfoot. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have G2 Leadfoot. But if you guys know where I can find one cheap, I wouldn't mind. Now, I can, however, pose him with his teammate. And here's Roadbuster, the other wrecker out of 3, with the remaining one being Topspin, who hopefully I'll have a review for you guys very shortly. And these guys are quite the contrast. Roadbuster fits your more standard physique of a male Autobot, right? He's kind of lean, a bit muscular looking. Whereas Leadfoot just looks like he enjoys football games and Doritos maybe a little bit too much. But hey, big is beautiful. And if it means we get, kind of more diverse physiques within Transformers, then all the better, right? You don't want all your Transformers looking exactly the same. So these two, they really, really go well together. They both share a mix of this black detailing with a lot of dark gray underneath, so they look like they're cut from the same cloth and utilize the same types of upgrades. Even their wheels look very similar. In fact, are they the same? I wonder, do they reuse? It's close. They're molded a little differently though. Very, very similar. And they, this guy still has the Ultra Record logo thing on there too. So that's really cool. I like the consistency there. Glad they planned everything out to where these guys match up very well. All right, so now, got to give my final thoughts on this guy. I love him. I think this is by far the best version of Leadfoot we've ever received. He's very, very screen accurate, especially for a deluxe class toy. They really nailed the whole belly thing. I think with the old ones, his belly kind of stuck out a little bit too much and looked weird. Looked like it looked like a mistransformed Prowl almost, where instead of like the hood being the chest, it was just sticking out down here. This guy really nails it. I love the proportions. I love the squatness. He's so different. Again, mine does have that issue with the loose connection here for the right-hand side missile pod. And it's really annoying, but hopefully most people won't have that issue. He's got about the standard amount of posability you would expect for a Studio Series Deluxe. It's no ankle tilt, but ankle tilt's not always a guarantee when it comes to Studio Series. He does have a good range of clearance to move his limbs around. There's not a whole lot of kibble, just pieces falling off. This makes me sad. Why, Leadfoot? You're almost perfect. Almost perfect. And overall, I think this guy is an absolute must-buy if you're a Studio Series collector. Now, of course, him being a Target exclusive, at least here in the US, that's going to limit where you can pick him up. You are at the mercy of Target's distribution system, and depending on where you live, that could be good, could be bad. I've lived in areas where Targets are really awesome, and they'll get everything in very early. I lived in areas where the Targets, they just don't really seem to care. So, mileage will vary. His official release date is actually September 11th. And a lot of Targets, they have him street dated for that in the scanner system, but they were still ringing up. So if they were actually putting them out on shelves, you could go and easily check out with one. Though not all employees would be willing to pull you one from the back. So I would think that come September 11th, if you didn't get a pre-order for this or you didn't find one in stores, they should start showing up on Target's website again, or at least sometime around that. So if you can't find one right away, don't lose hope. This guy is well worth the wait. He's a very, very cool little Autobot. Can I just gush over his head sculpt real quick? Look at that. It is, you can make out all the details. He's got silver on his beard. He's got those cool blue goggles. They really knocked that out of the park. You can actually make out the features, unlike Roadbusters here. It's kind of really hard to tell what you're looking at. Just a whole bunch of silver paint slapped on there. So yeah, this dude is awesome. One of the best Studio Series Deluxes I've seen in a while. So now that I've told you all what I think of this toy, what I really want to know is what you think of him. Do you see Leadfoot as a must-buy? Do you like his design? Do you think it's too weird? Or do you think maybe they didn't do a good enough job with it? Any and all feedback, of course, is always welcome in the comment section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the Target exclusive Studio Series Leadfoot. And with all that said, I will see you next time.